people come up to me and look me in the eyes and say, "Are you enjoying this?" What they really mean to say is, "Why on earth did you intend to do this job?" The fact is, I do enjoy it, and I hope in my small way that I'm going to make a difference. I hope you all enjoyed what was a very stimulating morning session. Let me now take you from the macro to the micro. I don't want to say bring you down to earth. I thought that a brief overview might be useful. As Daisy said, I have survived in this industry since 1970, and it feels as if every year has been a difficult one. I'm not known for my optimism, although in my opinion, being a tour operator for the past 40 years can only mean that I'm supremely optimistic. The recession years have seen difficulties accelerating for the travel trade, with crisis piling onto crisis, and this year has been no exception. Although I feel it has not perhaps been as bad as 2012. However, not everyone operates to Greece as my company does. And there are certainly, in my view, more reasons to be cheerful looking forward to 2014. What happens in the world impacts our industry in a very immediate and tangible way, perhaps more so than many other industries. The continuing and escalating crisis in the Middle East has seen the maintenance of high oil prices, which continue to make our margins very uncertain. The pound's value has dropped 5% since last year, and March saw the terrible financial crisis in Cyprus, which dented both consumer confidence and bookings to that destination. The unexpected demonstrations in Turkey showed how we cannot take the continued health of any destination for granted. The troubles were restricted to residential areas of Istanbul and Ankara, but like Greece in 2012, demand stalled. We should never forget that our customers now have enormous choice. Personally, I wish they didn't, and that both the sun and carefree holidays are available at many alternative destinations. Consumers do not have to travel to places where there's a potential perceived risk. ABTA's media and destination teams worked wonders to keep tourism moving to the Red Sea resorts in spite of the negative publicity. Their work showcased our association at its very best. The escalation of the civil war in Syria poured further negative publicity onto the whole of the Middle East region, and yet again, Cyprus suffered simply through association. We didn't have the Olympics in 2013, but we did have a heat wave in the UK. After a very promising start in the new year, this impacted on late season sales. But despite all I've said above, I think that what has been equally striking in the past 12 months is just how robust our industry is becoming. At ABTA, I'm glad to report that the collective turnover of our members, about 31.5 billion, is at the highest level ever. Our members have focused on strengthening their balance sheets and streamlining their businesses. And as chairman of the membership committee, I can vouch for that. In the last financial year, the CAA tells us that it has, and here I quote, only had to pay out 844,000 from the Air Travel Trust Fund. Just compare that to previous years. The fund is now in surplus for the first time since 1996. Ours is a very resilient industry, and I feel that we should pat ourselves on the back. 2012 was notable for changes to the ATOL scheme of protection, but with hindsight, we've seen a relatively smooth introduction of Fly Plus and the ATOL certificates without damaging our businesses or increasing the holiday cost to our customers. ABTA has done, again, a great deal of work consulting with members, keeping them informed of both progress and changes, and has worked closely with the CAA and the DFT. January and February of this year saw the best early season sales for years, with many companies reporting double-digit growth. This bonus stood us in very good stead when the anticipated late bookings dried up in the summer. The resurgence of the package holiday continues, and ABTA's latest research shows that 46% of consumers who booked their overseas holiday in the past year booked a package. Greece and Spain came back into form, and there is no doubt that Croatia has performed very strongly, with reports, as we have already heard, of a 25% increase in visitors from the UK in the first 6 months of 2013. It's good to be in Croatia to see a little piece of this wonderful destination for ourselves. In May, Visit England launched its Wallace & Gromit marketing campaign in support of domestic tourism. This time around, Visit England decided to work closely with the travel trade, and that appears to have paid off, with a really strong, positive campaign to support the domestic tourism market. Both domestic and outbound tourism are valuable contributors to the UK economy, and they do not have to be set against each other. They are both part of the overall tourism mix, and I hope very much that government is at last beginning to understand this. So what can we expect in the year to come? Thankfully, the renewed stability, however temporary as some think, in the Eurozone is seeing a rise in its popularity as a tourist destination. The demand for cruising will doubtless increase as more capacity comes online. ABTA research shows that 10% of holidaymakers are considering a cruise in 2014, a very big increase on this year. London will become the newest cruise destination with the opening of the new port at Greenwich in 2016. Life and technology are moving so fast that none of us know what we will be facing when we get out of bed tomorrow. In this afternoon's sessions, we shall be looking more closely at how our clients are seeking, booking, and sharing their holiday experiences. What does this mean for the way that we should be designing holidays in the future? Can the increasingly expensive technology we are offered ever match what we expect of it? Will our advertising costs continue to rise as digital media does its best to monetize its online offerings? Technology features strongly in the sessions this afternoon and tomorrow. We'll be hearing what will be the impact of this technology and what we can all do as travel businesses to understand the changes and the opportunities. But technology is only part of the picture. We will also be discussing the opportunities for the industry, how the tourism product needs to adapt, and how to factor in uncertainty and changing consumer booking behavior and tastes. How can we plan ahead? And how can we mitigate the risks we face? Don't forget, ABTA is our association. It is here to help and advise, and ABTA has a wealth of experience and know-how. I have made it my stated aim to be as accessible as possible to members. I have already attended just about all the regional meetings held over the past 8 weeks, and I intend to continue doing so throughout my term of office. I hope that if there is anything that ABTA members and partners feel we can improve on, you will not hesitate to speak to me or to any of our senior management team who are here in Croatia. Thank you, and I wish you all an enjoyable and stimulating conference in this most beautiful of destinations.